Okay, sorry about that. We're experiencing some technical difficulties and we've disconnected, but here we're back. So I was just sharing that my Abba had to sit there every hour and with this dropper feed these birds. And to him, they were his greatest teachers on what it means to let go of all the unimportant things that we think we need to do. In order to do what's important, to connect to whoever's right there in front of us. So I think that in this age, in this time, in the last couple of months, that a lot of our external commitments, simple things like getting up and going to work, have changed. And our Abba in this simple story has taught us that sometimes just being with whatever being is right in front of you, whoever's right next to you, who needs you the most, is a really important thing. So I hope some of you have come, have joined us again. I would like to, okay, so sorry for disconnecting. I'd like to invite, we have with us from San Francisco, a dear friend, dear friends of our family, Betsy and David. And I would really love to invite you to share a little bit of your memories. It would be under Betsy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're unmuted. You know, seeing David tell the story about how to teach and what was important about singing. I've told the story before, but it's still what affected me the most. I'd been going to acupuncture school, learning a pretty I was older when I went back to school. It's a difficult subject because they use English terms, but with whole different meanings. The teachers were mostly Chinese, that English was not their first language. And we'd be trying to understand what they were trying to tell us, and this would go from 9 to 5. And I would just leave the classes, you know, with a headache, with confusion. And I saw that this rabbi was teaching Jewish mysticism at the Jewish Community Center. And that's a topic that's been interesting to me for a long time. And I had dabbled in it and done a little bit of meditation and a little this and that. And why I thought that on a Wednesday night after doing this Chinese medicine classes, I would have the energy to then learn more. But I tried it. I went to the JCC, and here was this lovely man who would give you a little piece of information that would kind of grab your attention, and then he'd sing. And then he'd give you another little piece of information or a little speech, and then we'd sing. And all of a sudden, an hour and a half had passed. And I would leave this class at 10 o'clock at night, after the 9 to 5 at the, at the Chinese medicine school. After David's class, though, I felt refreshed. And in the video that we just saw, I didn't realize he actually there was a whole method to the madness. You know, he was very clearly doing these things as a way of getting to us, to our kishkis. And as a result of that, to kind of also say what, I forgot her first name, Spellman said, Barbara. This isn't what they taught us in Sunday school. And the Yiddishkeit that he was teaching and the path that I had already been trying to get to he brought it back to my Judaism. And it was Judaism for adults. There was something here, something deep, something meaningful, and something inspiring. And he still does. It still has given greatly to our family as we became more orthodox in our practice, as we keep Shabbat, and as we attempt to be open and as giving and off the schedule as we need to be to connect to another person's soul. That's what David gave us, and that's what we honor. Yeah. And we miss him, and we love him. And you guys too, it's wonderful to see you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that David would stay with us, I think all the time when he came to San Francisco particularly. And it was just wonderful having his presence here. We had at least one Shabbat with him in the house, maybe more than one. And then he often would teach his classes. So we'd have lots of people who learned with him in our living room. And, you know, it's like the ways that places are created like holy spaces, like sacred spaces, because all that music would be there. And sometimes I couldn't slow down because I was like hostessing sort of, or whatever, but it was always calming, it was always centering, and it was just enriching to be part of David. And then when Dahlia was little, we have two daughters, and Avra and Dahlia. When Dahlia was little in particular, we had to do nighttime medical treatments for asthma. And we would get through them by chanting David's Snigunim with her. And so they're really, the music is very essential to the girls. And they feel really also very close to David and send their love to you. And then we wake up to an iPod of music, and then there's days when David's songs come, like several in a row, and it's like I can't get out of bed till one is finished. But that usually makes me late because he has said they just keep going on and on and on. And as long as it's going, I don't want to interrupt that song. So he's with us very presently as well. And this weekend, in honor of this day, we both yesterday started looking at the books. So again, what a gift to have his book and everyone's book to him with their memories. Thank God for those things. We love you all, and it's great to see you all.
Thank you so much for joining and for sharing with us. We love you so much. Our Abba loved you, and we love you as well. Thank you so much for being such a part of our life. I see that we have about 20 minutes. I do want to also, again, it's an open invitation. If you're there, if you have something to share, it can be people from the past. It could be people who grew, or from Efrat who grew up with us. It could be. And if you want to speak, please write. And if Dina Garber is here online, so please write me a note or something, or raise your hand, Dina, if you're here, because we'd love to have you share something. We have with us Barbara Efros, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who wrote to me that she was a student of our fathers in 1975, 1976. So Barbara, if you're there, we would love to hear from you, hear you share something.
Rabbi. Thank you all for having this. It's such an honor to, I've met some of his family years ago. I met David back in 1975. He was a professor at University of Redlands, Johnston College. I'm a little verklempt, as we all are. Johnston, can you all hear me okay? Just a nod, yeah. David was then teaching classes, in psychotherapy and Zen Buddhism, and there was a few of us Jewish students, and we knew that he'd been to India. He actually came from India and then went to Johnson, I remember. And anyways, we would have to petition the classes that we wanted offered by professors. And so David offered to teach a Jewish class, and we had to agree. And the first class that David taught that I was part of, was on Jewish storytelling. And the first speaker he brings after a month or two, Shlomo Carlebach, to our school. David, I mean, as you all know, I mean, even though he's been gone from this earth for 13 years, he's still with us. I mean, my husband and my husband's here on dark screen, David, but we still listen to his music. What I want to share about David was, one thing he did with our class, we did another course the next semester, and I went from studying Hasidic tales with David to then, years later, because it was years later before he decided to be a rabbi. Later at Talmud. That David brought us all to Los Angeles to meet his mother and father at the Union Institute. And at that time, 75, 76, David was still struggling with his relationship with the world of Jung, and he would teach classes on the topic. And I went through the process in my own life, with David while he was still here in the States, going up to San Francisco to the House of Love and Prayer, meeting Zalman Schachter, of course, Shlomo Carlebach was there. Rev David, our rabbi, David Zeller, your Abba's beloved, conducted the wedding for Zalman Schachter. It was Rev David, and I don't even know, I think he was recently ordained, who with Rev Shlomo conducted, and somebody else, Zalman Schachter's wedding up in Berkeley. David was such an inspiration. He called me from Israel in 1992. He had heard, that I was expecting, that I was pregnant, and somebody else talked about, and I can't believe that it's been over 13 years. I mean, I remember being 14 years ago, part of a international prayer circle, and I recognize some of your names and a few of you personally. All I want to say is my many blessings and virtual hugs to all of you, your whole entire family and Chevra. And this is a real gift to be part of this. And thank you. Just lots of love and prayers, and that's what I got today. I'll let someone else talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so special to hear all of these stories. We'd love to hear Uncle David and Aunt Nancy. You there?
I got all emotional.
Okay.
Here, we hear you.
Did that work?
Yes.
All of a sudden, even though I had it right here.
Hey.
Hi, we love you all.
It's not kosher food. We have wonderful memories of David Zeller, of course, and how much him, and he loved us, and he loved the families, and all the times we spent together, both in Israel, California, and here. One story I don't think he was touched on, I thought was kind of cute, was he was on the radio once with Mordecai, one of Mordecai's friends who had a radio program, and they were interviewing David. And someone called in and complained that he didn't like David's music because it put him to sleep. And David's answer was wonderful. He said, well, that was the intention. He said it was that kind of music. And
I was emotional.
Compliment, not a
Listening.
The other thing I wanted to say is that we all talk about wonderful things that he taught us and the specialness of him, but none of you, you all know who know me and love me know I'm a crier. So I'm sorry. But he was the best father we've ever known. He went through a lot he was there all the time, completely for all of you. And all the things he did wonderful in the world. The most wonderful thing he did was bringing up you 3 kids.
He was a wonderful father to all the kids. And
All of you, I'm sorry, I meant to say you 4 kids. I'm sorry, Sharia, but you 4 kids are 4 of the most terrific people we know.
he came over
And,
later. Yeah.
Alana and Hannah Sarah had a lot to do with it, I know that, but your Abba was a spectacular, spectacular father and human being, that we all know.
We do miss him.
Thank you so much. And how many events do we get to have 2 David Hellers speak? This is amazing, right?
I think we've had that happen before.
That's who he is. I know this guy.
That happens.
Okay, thank you. I want to invite Reuven and Judith Goldfarb from Tzfat to share something. Are you still there? Ah,
I did unmute.
No, now you're on mute.
Okay, now you hear me, right?
yes.
Okay, good. I just want to say one thing. What I haven't heard anybody say yet, which I think we all know, is that David is very tough-minded, in fact, and very principled. And in his field, the field of spirituality, let's say, there were many teachers and many schools of thought.
Reuven, we lost you.
That internal thing. Well, I'm going to say it anyway because I can hear myself. Your internet connection is unstable.
That's what happens. That's what happens up in Tzfat, right?
We don't have any horses here. Well, maybe a couple. They're the ones that are out of stable. All right. So can you hear me now? Can I go
Yes,
on?
loud and
Okay.
clear.
Great. I
No,
did.
I don't know. Go ahead.
If he heard of a teacher who lacked integrity, who was unprincipled, who sought to keep his students close and not let them go anywhere, he had a judgment placed in him that was coming from, say, a very high level of, a very high standard of what a teacher should be and how a teacher should relate to his students, and how much respect and honoring of the student a teacher owed his acolytes. So I just want to put that out there, that David could be very strong in his judgment if someone was actually kind of violating the code of the guru's guild. Okay? That's it.
Yes, thank you. That was an important part of who he was and what he stood for. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just saying he had a very strong sense of righteous anger for what he perceived as right and wrong, and he was very, very clear about that.
We have this memory of every year before Pesach, before the Seder, when we would be checking the chametz, the unleavened bread, and he'd be sitting there and saying, you have to look inside of your heart and see what are the parts you want to get rid of, and it's all inside of you, and this very beautiful thing, and get rid of the anger and all of that. And then we'd go in the morning to burn the chametz, and all these Israelis, I don't want to say anything bad about Israelis, but that's what Abba used to say. And you go, they just throw all their bags, all the plastic bags into the fire. And he would start screaming and raging, and what are they doing?
And jump into the fire to take the plastic bags out.
This is not ecological, and I can't believe it. And then we'd be sitting there and saying, didn't he say something about anger being not a good thing and inside burning? And it was this whole funny thing that would go over and over every year about the inside and the outside.
Are the Epsteins from Portland? Are you guys still here? If you are, wave. Yeah, Nava and Svi, are you here? Unmute yourself.
Alt-A. Alternate.
No, it says mute. Huh?
We hear you. We hear you. We lost you. Unmute yourself. Now you're muted. We can't hear you. Can you unmute? Are they muted? We can't hear you. We heard you before. Can you unmute yourself?
I'm trying. Wait, now.
Now we hear you. Great.
How about now?
Yeah, perfect.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Somebody show a sign that they could hear us, please. Ah, nice.
Hi,
Okay.
everyone.
So many old friends here, and yet there are people we don't know or quite recognize. So I wanted to introduce ourselves a little bit. We are one of also of David's first students in the mid 70s, and along with the Hellers who just spoke, and Devorah Spillman, who's here with us in Portland. We were one of the first people to learn with David when he returned to California, and first in Palo Alto on their house in Los Robles, and so we were there actually before we first took a class with Elaine, who was later Ilana, and then Etty. I'm just going to show her her painting, a print of her painting that I can't see if it's being shown.
It shows.
It shows. But we knew them just before they were married, and she was in the class with us. And then we did all this meditation in their house in Los Robles, including with the Hellers that we just heard spoke. And we have spent more than one beautiful Shabbat with the Hellers in San Francisco. So anyways, that's who we are. Mordechai, we were at your Brit. Probably not too many people here were. I don't know. You were. And Manya, particularly Nava here, used to pick her up at the South Peninsula Hebrew Day School. To Palo Alto?
Well, I remember coming one time to our house, and she was singing the song, Manya, you were singing it, and it was, you could sing it. It's not kosher, it's not kosher.
It's not kosher, it's not kosher. No, it isn't. We don't need it. No, we don't. Nice sing song. So anyways, we're just going to share a few things. We heard reference to the Seder that Devorah mentioned in Santa Clara. They moved near a day school there in Santa Clara that they were part of when we were at that Seder. But I wanted just to share an interesting story about the Seder, because we had three daughters, and we were all at the Seder. It was all crowded together. The tables were they were back to back. You couldn't pull the chair out to get in. You actually had to crawl under the table to get in or out. Things were passed. You couldn't get in to pass things, so the food got handed overhead. And for our daughters, the memory is just a nightmare. but for me, I got something
And
very,
the Seder started at midnight.
and the
Don't
Seder
forget to
started
mention
at
that.
midnight. Reb Shlomo was busy greeting everybody. And I don't know so much about what Reb Shlomo taught directly, but I learned a lesson there that has stayed with me my whole life, and it didn't come from David. It didn't come from Reb Shlomo directly, but indirectly for sure. And that's what was in the kitchen. People were getting ready for the Seder, and they were cutting the vegetables, cutting the grain. And, you know, it's kitchen duty, right? It's just menial task. But there were people from all over, from Israel, from New York, Mexico City. Some people I recognized, most I didn't. But what got to me was the singing that came out of the kitchen. It was so high, and people were just, they were making Yontif and making it so holy. But what were they really doing? Just this mundane task of cutting the carrots, cutting the grain. And for years after, when I would be at work wondering, what the heck am I doing? Why am I here? What's going on? It's so much stress. And then I would remember the Seder, and I would say to myself, Herschel, I'm Zvi Hersch. Herschel, just calm down. If you're here, it's because you need to be here. It's a mitzvah. Just sit here and cut the grain and make this time kadosh. And that was the biggest lesson I received from David and from Reb Shlomo. I just showed a picture of Etsy's painting when they were in Efrat. And I somebody mentioned Let Go, and the song Let Go that was dedicated to her. And then David's, it's just the bar mitzvah year of David's Yahrzeit, and we remember it well. We heard from Jody Feld. We were in Berkeley. We are now in Portland, but we were in Berkeley for our grandson's Brit, and it was which was right after Shavuot, and so we were in Berkeley at David's passing, and we went to a memorial that was very moving at the Feld's house, and anyways, and some of the people are here now were there, including I think Devora. I'm not sure about that, but anyways, and then a day or so later, the Feld Hanan, Rabbi Feld did the Brit for our grandson, and so
Yeah.
So very much remember the anniversary. So
Thank you.
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you for joining us. What a beautiful opportunity this is. Listen, I know there were a bunch more people who wanted to share. We are running a bit out of time. We're going to show another short video. A 2-minute video. Okay, and then we'll kind of close things here.
Behind that, because it's getting in touch with the vision and purpose of the world, and getting in touch with the vision and purpose of each and every one of us in that world. So that part of the work of trying to be in harmony within our lives, day to day, within our whole lifetime, within the purpose of the planet, is to constantly remember there is a purpose, I've got to discover what it is, remember what it is, rediscover what it is. I constantly forget it. Maybe I never knew it. Maybe I never will. And yet somehow live accordingly. And one of the major ways of doing that is finding ways to be in joy. That if we're struggling and somehow bitter and sad and angry and whatever, these are all the negative side of all of the positive emotions. And a lot of the work of Judaism is transforming the negative into the positive, the dark into the light, the sadness into the joy. And I've already, I think, touched on topics that we could spend days and days and days on, and we'll see, as I said, how time goes or what questions get stimulated is where we want to pop into some of these. But all of this just got set off by my trying.
Ah, yes. He had days and days and lots of things he wanted to share with us, but we wish we had more days and days to listen to Abba. And so officially, I think we are ending now. So those of you who want to leave now, that's fine. We won't be offended. And if there are more people here who still want to speak and share with us, we're still here. We're still happy to hear more.
And I just want to say that we just started a Facebook page that's it's like a community, and if you want to just join in or request to join, it's called Rabbi David Zeller, Story of a Soul. And whoever didn't share things here and would like to share something, please feel free to share. We'll be reading it, we'll be sharing. And what? Okay, yeah, so Moshe Chaim. Would you like to share something? Hello.
Hi guys. I'm really happy to be here finally. My wife's phone accepted the Zoom, but my phone didn't for whatever reason. Reuven Goldfarb earlier mentioned an aspect about your father as a bit of a social justice warrior. And I think your siblings also should know about a heroic time that he came up to the spot when there was this kind of a witch hunt against a particular family. And there was this cults voodoos lecture. Many cult busters, famous people came up to speak at it, all against this one family. And Reb David showed up and he asked me, he was invited, and he asked me, what's going on here? And he took me aside to ask me this, and I told him, there's this family up in Beria, they're very unjustly being focused on for things that are not appropriate, that are not their fault. And he said, can you take me to them? And he had me get in the car, we went up there, he spoke with the couple. Actually, he listened to the couple, and that's a very important difference. They told him how this attack came against them. No one had spoken to them. No one had asked them any questions. It was just rumors and innuendo. And the next thing you know, they're being told they can't daven in their shul. And they were just about tshuvas. They were just chozeh tshuva, coming back like so many people in this town have, from so many different directions, so many different ways of thinking. And yeah, they came from a guru, but they were learning learning primarily Rebbe Nachman, and they were going to classes, and they were a wonderful couple and a wonderful participants in our community. And then some of their kindness got mistaken for the wrong thing, and Reb David listened, and instead of what, like I did many times, trying to explain the community and why they did what they did, he apologized on behalf of them. And the woman the woman spoke to him and said, but it's not just this community. It's some problems within Judaism that attacks people like this. And he nodded and he said, you're right. It's something we need to deal with. And then he went back to the institute that was doing the Cult Busters convention. And when it was his turn to speak, he stood up for rightness. He stood up for justice. He stood up for not attacking someone without speaking. He talked mostly about communication. I have it all in my journal. I wrote a lot about it when it happened. If any of you, any friends or any members of the family would like some actual quotes from that event, especially from Rev David, I'd be happy to share that on the Facebook page. So that's all I wanted to say. I love you guys so much, and I'm so glad to be here with all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Moshe Chaim.
He was my hero. He was the only hero at that event.
Thank you. I was actually hoping you were going to tell that story, so thank you.
I'm glad, because I was wondering if I should. And then Reuven mentioning what he mentioned, I thought that was my in. I was going to talk about the first time I met Rev Shlomo with your dad when he was doing a wedding.
We have with us Barry Kamson. Are you still there?
I am here. Thank you.
Great.
I have actually a number of stories about Rav David, but I just wanted to share one experience that I've carried with me for decades. Way back, I heard David speak in Boston, and I was so taken that I actually followed him. I put it in terms of, I followed him to Yerushalayim and lived there for a while. And I was taking a course that he was given at Yakar. And the memory, the experience I carry with me is I would rush to Yakar and I would hurry up. I would get there. I would get to the bottom of the steps. I would start going up the steps and I would start hearing David playing the guitar. And it would just slow me down immensely. And by the time I got to the top of the steps, I was in another place. And I've just carried this with me for ages. And I've carried David's music with me for ages as well. But I just wanted to share that one memory.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you. So we're really kind of closing up. I want to ask again if there's anybody in the family who wants to share anything. Mom, Sharia.
I just want to thank everybody for being with us and awakening the memories that fill our hearts with joy and gratitude and the holiness of his neshama and the sweetness that he's trying to so much bring peace and harmony into the world with compassion and kindness, and not a simple thing to do, you know, when you also have righteous ideals and judgment, you know, to balance that with a compassionate heart. And I think we're all working on ourselves to be able to do that, to balance. And the Corona time has brought us more inward. And David always was inward, even though he was always going out to the world. And I just want to thank you all for filling my heart tonight and bringing me from sadness to joy and taking me out of a little darkness into light and reminding me what a privilege it has been his wife and to raise his children. And it's just thank you. I just want to say also that I feel in my life, and I look at my brothers and sisters and my mom, and I feel like one of the things that Abba gave us was that we really are always looking for something deeper in life and for something meaningful in everything we do. And sometimes it's hard and annoying, and it just bothers to just do regular stuff. And I feel like that it's also a very big gift that we all have in speaking from our heart and meeting people with open hearts and having people in our house for Shabbos and a lot of stuff. I feel like we got a really big gift from having a great Abba for the years we did get him. So that's it. I wanted to thank God. Thank Abba.
Thank you to all of you and to our wonderful family and to, you don't see him, but to David Hillel, Manya's husband and our brother-in-law, who's behind the scenes of so much of even just bringing our Abba's light into the world. 99%. But anyway, he's hidden here behind the camera, but he's amazing, and we love you, David. Thank you so much for everything you do. And I also want to mention our sister Meira, who's not with us tonight. She wasn't feeling well. She's getting better, getting her strength back, and she's in Yerushalayim. But we're thinking about you. She's with us, and we tuning in, heart and soul. And I just want to ask again if there's anybody else who has something that you would like to share. Pick up your hand if we missed somebody when we got disconnected for a minute, and if somebody asked to speak and I didn't see. So now's the chance if you want to share something short and sweet. And if not, we have this page and we would love to hear from you. Oh, here, Manya wants to share something.
I just want to say another thank you to all of you, and I'm so glad that we had the chance to do this. It's amazing what special things have come up from this coronavirus, and to actually have this chance to share Abba's Yahrzeit with all of you who were so much a part of his life. All these names and faces that I remember. So many of you remembering me when I was so much younger and smaller, but it's just very special because, you know, most of his life was still in the US and less of it was here. So many of you just have so many memories, and that's just amazing. So really, we'd be so happy if you would keep sharing more memories with us, whether it's just writing on that Facebook or on the Facebook page or writing to us by email. It means a lot to us as young children who are now not so young, but the memories are really meaningful for us, and to give them on to our children, it means a lot. Who? Rebecca. We'd love to hear you right now. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Hi, my heart's with you all. What a joy to be able to participate and share with all of you. Let me get this out of the way. Can I get this out of the way? I first met your father. I was a secular, unaffiliated Jew who had moved to Northern California, went to Sonoma State University. And it was a very cool sounding course called Psychology and the Spiritual Quest. And your father came in representing Judaism. This is in 1976 or 7. I knew nothing about, other than being a New Yorker who absorbs Judaism by living in New York, I didn't know much. And I was so moved by David's sharings and stuff. I said, one day I'm going to study with that person. And I didn't know like studying was a big Jewish thing. I just said, I have to go find him. And then I was introduced later, a few years later, to more Michael Shapiro and Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. And your dad and Shlomo did a 4-day retreat at Mount Madonna Center where I got to meet your mother. And I just want to say that he really was the Gesher Tzarmaod. He was such a Gesher for me, bridging, with the Network for Conscious Judaism and spirituality, helped me find a path into Judaism that was just so profound. I want to quickly honor, I'm not sure if they're here, I tried to reach Cookie, Jerry, and Strauss and the Strausses, because I know they were so important. They're so important. You're so important to them. And I know if they're not here, I know they wanted to be here, and what a deep place in everybody's soul all of you have for them. I wanted to also share that your dad, Reich Reb Shlomo Carlebach, who I was also very close to, was such a unifier. In San Diego, I did a 4-day Shabbaton and concert and teachings. Brought your father to San Diego. And just like I would do with Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, I would go to the whole, I'd go to the seculars, I'd go to the Reform, the Conservative, the Ortho, and, the straight Orthodox, the Chassid. And everybody, your dad was so well received in San Diego, and he's been so received everywhere because his words are such soul nourishment, and you all have that in you, and it's such a joy to see it living through all of you. So I thank you all for the gift of yourselves and your father, and for connecting with everybody here. Maybe this is, even when COVID is done, maybe there's a way to have something like this so many of us can share in Yahrzeit. What a beautiful thing. Thank you. My love is with you all. Stay healthy.
Thank you, Rebecca. That's a great idea. I hope that's something that we'll be able to do once in a while, and or every year. We have to think that through. Anyone else? Tamar. We have to have somebody here speaking Hebrew. קצת עברית פה.
Yeah.
היי תמר.
היי. אז רציתי לספר משהו קטן, שהיינו פעם בשבת אצלכם, כמה חברות של אסתרי, ומתישהו בזמן הסעודה, אבא הזמין כל אחד ממי שהיה, לספר איזה משהו קטן מהשבוע, איזה רגע או איזה משהו שהיה לו משמעותי. וזה היה כל כך מיוחד, שכל אחד ממי שהיה שם פתאום נתנו לו מקום, והרגע הזה שאנשים סיפרו, רגע קטן, ואולי אפילו שלא ייחסנו לו חשיבות, עד אותו רגע קיבל פתאום אור חדש, וזה היה לי מאוד מאוד מיוחד ומרגש. אני בטוחה ששרנו גם באותו זמן, אבל הדבר הזה של לתת מקום לכל אחד, להגיד איזה משהו ולספר משהו מהחיים שלו, ולתת מקום, זה היה מאוד מאוד מיוחד, ואני ממש זוכרת את ההקשבה ככה, עיניים עצומות לפעמים, וממש נתינת מקום, שממש השאירה חותם. תודה.
תודה תמר. תודה רבה. Let's end with the song.
Who? Wait, who else? David, who else? Jerry Strauss. Wow, Cookie and Jerry and Avra, are you there? Yay, we were hoping you got this.
It's a perfect place.
Well, thank you all. Let me bring that forward.
Hello, Jerry.
Well, hi. My name is Sarah.
We can barely hear.
We can't hear you.
Jerry, we can't hear you very well.
Get closer to the computer. Wow.
It's strange because now we have white hair, but we're still very hot. And they remind us always to thank Hashem, Hashem. and his great songs and teachings inspire us. And now your whole family is an inspiration to us. It was just on one highlight not long ago. And it's been over 20 years since we were last in Israel. About 24 years since we were last in Israel. We hope to see you soon again, in Holy Land. And he was always an optimist, who saw the positive side of things, and so much love and joy about him. And he really learned from Shlomo about being in joy, being in bliss, and always thinking about how to be holier, how to be happier, be more joyous through his songs and his teachings. And it's such a legacy to learn from him. And we see him all the time. The property where he stayed, our property is all burned down. We were living there. It's all burnt down. This house, our house, the other buildings, they're all gone. But David's memories will live forever. Well, thank you all. And
Thank you.
Yeah, for Shlomo, for Leonard's healing. Bless all of you should be well and happy.
Amen.
Mary and Cookie, we love you guys so much. You are such an important part of our life. And we send our love to Avra, to Talia, to Zev, to Ariel. You're all such a part of our soul. You're like just an extension of our family, and we love you guys and miss you and think about you always. We love you. We love you so much. Thank you for joining in with us.
And have so many fond memories from the time with you, and it was so meaningful for us, everything we've had with you. And I remember you guys calling Abba so often, and he would just talk to you, and it was just so meaningful, and such a meaningful relationship, and just have such close friends. So thank you so much for being such a good part of our lives. It was so important to him. We love you. May you have so much health and happiness. Love to you all. We're going to finish now with we'll put a song, Abba singing a song, and thank you so much. We're sending all of our love.
And if anybody, and write to us if you want to be put on the mailing list, or if you just join in with us on this group. And we would love, some people wrote that they're going to share and bring some pictures that you have. It's a great platform to share some of these memories and whatever pictures you have. We would love, love, love to share with all of that. Thank you all for coming and joining. Thank you for celebrating our Abba's Yahrzeit bar mitzvah. Mazel tov.
Da 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 Oh